I was scrolling through comments on a few budget 75-inch panels when I kept seeing the same story. People love the size, but the picture ends up looking washed out, the motion gets choppy, and the whole thing feels like a Niceto-have that never really delivers. The regret is real, because a huge screen that doesn't perform feels like a wasted wall space and a wasted paycheck. That's why I paused before clicking buy on the cheaper options and dug deeper into what the higher-end models actually offer. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The TCL 75-inch QM7L is marketed as a mini-LED QLED with a 144 Hz refresh rate, Google AI integration, and a Bang & Olufsen branded audio system. The question I kept asking myself while testing was simple. Does this combination actually solve the problems I've heard about? Or is it just another marketing mashup? In the next few minutes I'll walk through the day-to-day experience, point out where the TV shines, and be blunt about where it falls short so you can decide if it's a smarter buy or another gamble. First off, the biggest practical obstacle for a 75-inch set is the room. You need at least about 10 feet of viewing distance to keep the image looking natural, and that's exactly the sweet spot for this screen. I set it up in a medium-sized living room with a 12-foot soffit wall distance. The TV's built-in stand is solid enough to sit on a sturdy TV console, but the real magic happens once you mount it on a wall. The thin profile, thanks to the SQD-Mini-LED backlight, makes wall mounting relatively easy and the cables stay tidy, which is a nice surprise for a TV of this size. Picture quality is where the QM7L tries to differentiate itself. The Mini-LED array couples with TCL's Ultra Color Filter and HVA 2.0 Pro panel, promising deeper blacks and more vivid colors. In a dimly lit room, the blacks indeed stayed impressively inky. You could practically see the texture of the wall behind dark scenes. The Ultra Color claim felt real when I watched a nature documentary. Greens were saturated without looking oversaturated, and the reds popped just enough to give that cinematic punch. One practical strength here is the precise dimming. The LD2100 series lets the TV dim specific zones even while the rest of the screen stays bright, so you get minimal blooming around bright objects. For sports fans, that means a soccer match's bright stadium lights won't spill into the shadowed crowd. The 144 Hz refresh rate really showed its worth with fast-moving content. I tested a first-person shooter on a PlayStation 5 and a high-frame-rate Netflix action series. The motion remained smooth, there were no jittery frames or the classic soap opera effect you sometimes see on 60 Hz panels. However, there's a subtle trade-off. The TV's motion interpolation is quite aggressive when you enable the Auto Motion Plus mode, which can add a noticeable soap opera look to movies that aren't filmed in high frame rates. If you're sensitive to that, you'll need to toggle the setting off for films, which is a quick menu change but something to be aware of. Now let's talk about sound. TCL teamed up with Bang & Olufsen to promise a home theater-grade experience, and the built-in speaker array does deliver a richer bass than most budget TVs. For casual TV watching and dialogue-heavy shows, the audio is clear and fills the room without needing a soundbar. The real test came when I turned on the expandable home theater audio option and added a pair of Bluetooth speakers. The TV's output synced seamlessly, and the combined system produced a broader soundstage. If you're looking for a plug-and-play solution without spending on a separate receiver, this is a solid advantage. On the flip side, the built-in speakers still can't match a dedicated 5.1 system for immersive movie nights, so hardcore audiophiles might still want a separate sound system. The Google Gemini interactive AI is another headline feature. On first use, the remote's voice control felt responsive. Asking for the weather, opening Netflix, or switching to a game console was almost instantaneous. The AI also suggests content based on your viewing habits, which can be handy if you like discovery. One practical downside is that the AI occasionally misinterprets less common commands, and you have to repeat yourself. It's not a deal breaker, but it does add a small friction point in an otherwise smooth experience. One hidden trade-off is the TV's input lag. While the 144 Hz panel suggests a gaming-ready device, the native input lag sits around 20 milliseconds in game mode, which is respectable but not the absolute lowest you'll find in dedicated gaming monitors. For most console gamers, you won't notice any lag, but competitive PC gamers who rely on ultra-low latency may still prefer a specialized monitor. Who should buy this TV? If you have a spacious living room, enjoy a mix of movies, TV series, sports, and occasional gaming, and want a large screen that delivers genuine HDR performance without breaking the bank, the QM7L is a compelling choice. It shines for families who watch a lot of varied content and appreciate the built-in